but you had a video on Andrew Tate's product or whatever. It's the first video I saw, right?
Jordan Welch. So there was a guy who joined the world and did a hit piece video on it. Everyone knows he's full of shit.
My business partner screwed me over. He scammed us out of $15K.
Like wads of cash.
Actually, 2021, Shopify brand passed $1 million in sales, and I ended the year around 250,000 subscribers.
Yes.
So he just decided to go ahead and take all the money and leave. I got a bad history of business partners. If you see a trend here, I had my first $100,000 month.
What was the yearly revenue that you did in 2017?
It was around like 600, 700,000. Like, and that first video is still on my channel. It's called "What is e-commerce?" There's no clickbait. My face isn't even in the thumbnail.
Bro, congrats. That is huge. The separation that I see is business people don't understand the power of creation, and oftentimes creators don't see the power of business, because there's tons of creators and you probably look at it and you're like, dude, you're sitting on a gold mine.
Definitely.
What are you doing, right?
Yeah, I think Mr. Beast is more of a businessman than a creative.
Jordan, right? And I'm like, what the is this? Yo, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Welcome to the pod. Appreciate having you here.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Let's get into it. I think one of the first things we want to ask you is, have you ever been in a street fight?
No.
Really?
I haven't. Yeah, I'm not a big fighter.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
We asked one of our guests, and he was like, he had the craziest response. He's like, when I was 10, he like clocked somebody in the street. We're like, holy shit, that is wild.
Yeah, no fights. I did kickboxing for a couple of years.
Oh,
but
shit.
Never like fought anybody on the street.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So I would want to, I recently found out about you, right? Through YouTube. It was Andrew Tate's video, and I think I talked to you yesterday or whatever about that. And that video is popping off.
Yeah.
Right? It's really growing. 3-4 days, already at 300,000 views. I think that's exciting. We'll get to a lot of those things, but I want to capture a little bit of your journey, because there was a lot of stuff you were doing that was really interesting. You had a Shopify store.
Yes.
You were growing that for a while. So I kind of want to take us at the start, like what got you into this journey of either being a creator and a founder?
So I started as a creator around 11 years ago. Me and my friends would just make like little videos, skating, playing video games, doing comedy stuff. No structure to it, just for fun.
Yeah.
And that was something that I never took too seriously, but I knew very early on that I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So, over the next couple years, I continued making silly videos, did more gaming stuff, did a basketball channel. If you can think of a niche on YouTube, I've probably tried it.
Okay, give me what age did you start and how long were you doing this?
11 years ago, I was like 12,
Wow.
So I started around like 12, 11 years old on YouTube. Yeah. But none of those videos ever got views or anything like that. But it ignited my passion and love for this art.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So you started this journey and then you kept going.
Yeah.
At one point, did your YouTube take off first or did your business take off first?
So it was definitely business. I had a long run of failed businesses as well. When I started my first business, I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was around like 14 years old, freshman in high school.
Yeah.
I started a apparel business.
Yeah.
I created a clothing brand. And it did not do that well, but it made me my first like real amount of money where I was like, oh wow, I made $100, $200. So yeah, I started
online or what? How did you sell it?
So I basically would promote it on Facebook.
Yeah.
All my friends from school had me added on there. So
Yeah.
I made a page and I sent people to the page. And I would promote it in school. I would tell everybody about it. I got stickers made and I would put them everywhere in my city. In my school, I got in trouble for that actually. Yeah. So yeah, that was the first real business I started. Prior to that, I was making money like editing videos. I was reselling sneakers.
At 13?
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck? Okay, wow.
Because ultimately I had this mission since I was super young, because I seen people making money online because I was so deep into gaming.
Yeah.
I saw people that were making real money, like doing trick shots and stuff, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna figure this out too.
Yeah.
So I just learned early that it was possible, and I told myself, you're never gonna work a job. You're gonna figure this out without having to work a job. So that I think that was like the first passion, was like trying to prove to myself that it was possible to make money without a job. Yeah.
That's amazing. And did you find friends at that time, or like, because Mr. B stories, he felt ostracized, cut off from everybody when he started young. He started at 11. You were around that age, 12 years old. Did you find yourself ostracized and kind of introverted away from other people? Because you seemed like a very sociable, likable person to me, very humble. And it seems like you have a lot of friends and everything like that, right? So back then, if you take me back to the 12, 13-year-old Jordan, like, did you already have friends who were doing this with you, or were you doing it alone?
Well, not really. On the internet, yes, but in real life, no. None of my friends in high school were entrepreneurs, but my, best friends at the time, they saw what I was doing and they supported it, but they didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I was very alone in that journey, but I found these people that were on the same path through the internet. So since a very young age, I've been having some very close friends through Xbox Live and through Skype and through Facebook. These days it'll be like Discord and Instagram. Yeah. But yeah, some of my early close friends were all on the internet because they understood what I was trying to do. If I try to tell it to my mom, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." But then if I tell them, they'll be like, "Yeah, bro, you should post this video today," and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I did have friends, but not in real life that had the same mission.
Understood. Okay, so I'm following it, right? So you're 13, 14, you're doing all this stuff, and you sold your merch and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now, what happened after that? Did you keep failing other businesses, or was that the time you discovered Shopify and e-commerce?
Well, after I had the clothing brand, we did 2 collections. The first collection we sold out, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to become the next Christian Dior. And then the next collection comes out and sell nothing. What I realized is my high school friends didn't have enough money to keep buying my t-shirts.
Got it.
So,
one-time customers, huh?
Yeah, and I didn't know how to get other customers other than family members. So I was like, okay, this isn't going to work anymore. So I stopped that business.
Wow.
But I had made $200, which was just enough for me to go wait outside and get these new Jordans that were releasing. Damn. So I bought these Jordans. They're the Bred 4s, Jordan 4 retros. Yeah. And I camped out for them for a couple hours. And I was able to actually flip those shoes for a $50 profit the same day. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to do this because I made just about the same amount of money doing this than I did selling my shirts. And it only took me a day. So I got really into reselling shoes for around a year, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So much so that I started a community in my city on Facebook, a Facebook group,
yeah,
all about buying and selling shoes because there hadn't been a Facebook group done about that.
Yeah.
So we were able to grow that group to 1,000 members in the first couple months. And that became the place that I was able to find new deals for shoes to buy. And then I would go market them on eBay, other Facebook groups, obviously the one that I own, and just try to sell them for profit. And that was how I made my first $1,000 was from reselling shoes.
Wow. And you were how old?
I don't even remember, 14,
14,
15,
okay, cool. Got
16, that era of sophomore, high school, junior high school. And it sounds great, but the problem with that business was that I was not really taking profit. I would take all the money I made from the new shoe flip, and then I'll buy more shoes, and then I'll buy more shoes. So I was making money, but it wasn't my bank account was really growing,
Yeah.
So it got to a certain point where I liquidated all the shoes that I had. I had 4 pairs of shoes, and it came out to $2,500. These were decent shoes. It wasn't
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna host a convention, a sneaker convention.
Yeah.
So because I had the group, and because I saw that there was a local buzz for sneakers in my city, I hosted an event called Southwest Florida Kicks Exchange. And essentially what we did there was we had people that had big collections of shoes. Yeah. They could buy tables for $75 and put their whole shoe collection out. Yeah. And then we had regular attendees that would come for $20. They could bring their shoes, sell them on the floor, buy from the collectors. Yeah. And we sold out the event. It was me and a business partner at the time. It costed me all the money I had, and we rented out the largest convention center in our city. I was 16 going into the place. And we sold out the event. But when it was all said and done, man, after I paid for the cost, I paid for the DJ, I paid for everybody, I didn't make any money.
No profit.
Dang.
None. No
Did
profit.
you at least get the money back, or you just lost the money?
It was back to zero, yeah.
Back to zero.
Basically. I thought that I was making money. I think my business partner screwed me over in hindsight because, I have this like vivid memory. And I think this is the reason why I
Just stealing the cash, like wads of cash.
Actually.
Oh, shit. Okay. There
So
we go.
like, let
Plot
me tell
thickens.
you, and I think this is a big reason why I have, the drive that I have today, or at least what sparked it.
Yeah.
I remember we left that event and it was all in cash. Most of the money was in cash. We had some online sales, but a lot of it was in cash.
Yeah.
And I'm at home, me, my mom, and this business partner at the time. He was older than me. He's like 4 years older than me. So he was kind of like the superior person in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he was like counting the money, counting it out. And I'm like, yes. Like, I'm excited. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, and then he goes and says, all right, this for me. He takes like this much. And he's like, yeah, this is because I did this, and this, and this. And he took the majority of the money. He gave me like less than half of it. And then after I took that money and I paid for all my expenses, I literally had nothing. So I watched this person take all this money that was in front of my face that I had thought I had earned.
Yeah.
And then that was it. I didn't ever want to work with him ever again because it never felt right. So,
Damn.
yeah, that was like back to zero.
Fuck, but that's YouTube AdSense, huh? They take fucking most of the money.
Yeah, right.
It's that guy all over again.
Pretty much.
PTSD.
Well,
Jordan, initially, like, what was it that gave you that drive? Was it like you were in a bad economic state? Was it that you?
What gave you?
wanted
I'll repeat the question just so the mic picks it up. But yeah, that's a great question. So
Yeah.
it's like, what gave you that drive originally? Was it? Was it because of finances? Like, why did you even have that drive to do YouTube, to grow a business? Because it wasn't just YouTube for you.
Yeah.
It was like you wanted to grow a business and make money.
Well, I grew up with my mom and my sister, and my mom was a single mother. My dad wasn't really around, so I would see my mom actually go to work every single morning. She would literally wake us up, get us ready for school, and then go to work before I went to school. So she would literally leave at like 6, 7 in the morning every day.
Yeah.
And she was only making like $20K a year, We didn't have a nice house. She always took care of us. I always had new shoes for like the first day of school, and I always had food, and like it was never like, oh, we were in poverty or nothing like that. But we definitely did not have disposable income. It was paycheck to paycheck, every paycheck. Yeah. So I saw that, and I think that's a reason why I never wanted to have a job, because I was like, whatever that is doesn't look like the thing to do.
Right.
So that was a big reason, wanting to take care of my mom and my sister, and also from an early age, spending so much time on YouTube and spending so much time in this online space, seeing young kids making money. Yeah. I was exposed to that very early on. Like I was a part of some of these like big trick shotting clans, as they were called, where kids were making thousands of dollars a month playing Modern Warfare 2. So I was like, okay, like I can do that.
Yeah. You just have to get good enough or get the skills. I think the belief is one of the most important things. So it seems like you seeing all of that, you got the belief that you could do it, and then you had troubles and things that you didn't want, right? So it's like the ultimate drive to move forward. Yeah. So that is inspiring, and that's amazing.
Thanks.
So we fast forward. So you do all of this stuff. You flip. You make $1,000. You get past this group. Then what happens? You get into e-commerce at that point, or are you still a little bit away from that?
Still a little away, because at that time that I lost all my money, I was around 16 years old, and I was back to zero. Yeah. At the age of 16, now everybody in my city has their driver's license, and they're pulling up to school in their new Hondas and Corvettes and whatever it is. So now I thought everybody's looking at me as Mr. Entrepreneur, the young kid that's like doing it, and now I'm the brokest one. I'm even poorer than the kids that work at McDonald's. So I'm like, okay, I got to figure something else out. So instead of starting another business, I just started hustling, like selling stuff on Craigslist. Yeah. I was doing tech support. I had a Craigslist listing where I was like, I can fix anything. So I would literally like have people.
Super niche.
Yeah, I would have people call me and tell me what their tech issue is, and I would Google it, try to figure out how to fix it, and I would pull up and I would fix it for like $100, $200.
Dude, my guy, resourceful.
Yeah, I'm not a genius by any means. I just know how to use Google.
Smart.
But I was scared that I was gonna get like robbed or something. So my mom was too, but she supported it. She was like, all right, take my car, go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But ultimately, bro, like none of those things really like brought in more money than I would be making at a job. So
Exactly.
I did reach a point where I had to get a job, and that was like probably one of the lowest points for me as a kid. And I know it's
a normal job.
yeah, because like my whole goal, and I used to get in deep arguments with my mom, like, no, I don't need it. I don't need to have a job.
Just talking all this shit about jobs.
She's like, yeah, you just like go do it. And I was like, no, I don't want to. But it was getting to the point where it was like graduation time, and I literally had no money. Yeah. She's like, I got you a job. So she literally like, she found somebody that needed work, and I went to work at this like nice restaurant, 5-star, you know, wear like a little black nice shirt every night and stuff like that. Yeah. And I worked there for a week.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
that's what I had a feeling that he was gonna say something because okay, keep.
Well, it started out strong, man. It started out strong. I was making like $100 in tips. Like I was like feeling good. Like every night I was like, okay, like this is some real money. Yeah. But then the turning point was I was a busboy. Yeah. So like the disrespect I was getting from these old rich white people at this restaurant was crazy. And then there was one time where I was like walking out delivering food, like food running, and I was carrying wine on one hand like this, like 8-9 glasses of wine. Yeah. And like we had this like door that like kind of swayed out. So the strategy they told us was like kick the door. So like I kind of kicked the door, but I leaned back a little bit. And I just dropped all the wine. And it was like one of those like movie scene moments where it's like the music stops in the restaurant and like everybody goes and just stares into your soul. And literally that night I took my tips that I had made and everything, and I just like called the manager the next one. I was like, this isn't for me. And he's like, yeah. And yeah, that was the end of the job.
He didn't even try to fight you on it?
No.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, so I had made, but honestly, bro, the real crazy part, and for everybody listening, like the reason why it's okay to get a job is because within 7 days of working at this job, I actually had more cash than I had from all these little businesses and side hustles that I ever did. So like, that's where it's like, I, in hindsight, was probably better off working a job while trying to do the business stuff on the side. My ego as this little kid was not trying to allow it. But, bro, in hindsight, I could have had more money way faster if I just had a simple job. It's not bad to get a job.
I agree. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
I think as entrepreneurs, that's something you don't want to do because you look down on it. Yeah. But I think you can generate cash, guaranteed. But I think the most important thing that you were acquiring that a lot of people miss, and maybe even your friends miss, where they were thinking you're in the game to acquire money, which as an entrepreneur, yeah, it does make sense. But really the things you were getting, my man, are like the skills.
Definitely.
Because that's the skills that you are using today for a fact, 1,000%. And so I think it's people forget that couple of years is just you getting good at the game.
Yeah. I use all those skills, like 100%. Video editing, marketing, sales. These things that I started with are the things that I'm still working on to this day.
I know. I'm very excited to continue this with you because marketing is one of my favorite things in life. Same. And I love YouTube as well, but marketing is more of the thing that kind of calls out to me, and the business side is the thing that more calls out to me. So I want to get into all of that. So, okay, so I feel like I'm following you so far. You're crushing. You're not at a point you're crushing it. You do this job. You get out of this job. Then what happens?
Well, at that point, I was basically graduating high school. I had like $1,000. Yeah. I did not have any more businesses. Yeah. So, you know, I was really down on myself. I was like, damn, I'm about to now be an adult, and I am not a successful entrepreneur, and I don't have a job, and now everybody's going to college. Yes. People are like, oh, I got a 23 on my ACT. I did this on the whatever the other test is.
Yeah, SAT or whatever.
And I did not. I was not like an F student, but I definitely wasn't at the top of my class.
What did you get for your ACT?
I don't even remember.
I got a 19.
I think
it was like one of the worst scores you can possibly get.
It was not good. I remember. I don't remember being excited about it. That's for sure. And I didn't apply to colleges, so like literally going into the summer, I was like, whoops. Like now I'm like really down bad. I'm literally no money, no car. No college acceptance letter. Yeah. So then, you know, I did apply to some colleges, and I figured that's the only route that I have right now to not look like a total like screw up in life. Yeah. So I ended up going to my local college, Florida Gulf Coast University, and I spent a year there. I was like trying to prove to myself like, okay, can I be a good student? So I went to college, And I literally got straight A's. I never missed a day of school. I was like the smartest, not smartest, but the highest in every single class because I just wanted to see if it was possible. And then I was like, okay, that was a waste of time. But like I proved to myself that it was possible. So after that first year of college, during the summer, I was once again back to like, all right, what now?
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to do that again. So in that summer is when I started my Shopify store. Yeah. And I used the money. So I got a student loan to go to college. And basically, if you don't use all the money, they give you it's called a refund check. So I got a refund check of like $2,100, and I used that as my budget to start my Shopify business.
Damn.
And you're not supposed to do that, but I did that. And it took me like months. I mean, the first 3 months, which was the summer period, I saw a little success here and there, $100 a day, $300 a day.
This was
2017.
Okay, cool.
So I, a couple $100 a day, but nothing ever really popping off to the point where I was making an income. So I'm kind of an idiot. So what I did was I was like, okay, instead of going back to student loans, let's sign an apartment lease with my two best friends, even though I'm not making enough money to afford the apartment. But I was showing them my Shopify, like, yo, like, I got it. Like, I just did like $50 in sales this year. Like, all right, cool. But once I signed that lease to that apartment, it was like, okay, if you don't figure this out, now you're like really gonna mess up.
Yes.
And literally, after I signed that lease with like $400 in my bank account, I was able to have my first somewhat successful month on Shopify. I did like 35,000 in sales. I had my first like couple thousand in profit. And that's where the momentum really started rolling. And by the end of that year, living in the apartment with my friends, I had my first $100,000 month. I was able to stack up for the first time, like seeing 6 figures in a bank account. And like literally that same year, I was like down bad. So like that's what I'm saying. I went from that just risking it all to go to this apartment to actually like getting my Shopify off the ground. There's a lot of little stuff that happened in there, but that's kind of like the
main thing that happened in 2017. So it seemed like 2017 was the year where things started turning around for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's funny because 2017 was the year my business that I started growing in 2017.
Wow, special year.
So it was like literally that was the first year of my business too.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. So 2017, you do this thing, and then what happens? Like you just keep growing your e-commerce store, and it keeps taking off?
So it was an upward trajectory pretty much all through the second half of 2017. But at that time, I also was a little, not flashy, but like I was a little posting about my sales on my Instagram and showing on Facebook. Because to reach the level of success, if you'll call it that, I had on Shopify, I was very active in Facebook groups. And this goes back to what I learned as a kid. Being in these communities will accelerate your growth so much faster. So inside these communities, I would always post, yo guys, I made 100 a day now. At first, I was the guy saying, yo, how do I get my first sale? But now I'm the guy saying, yo, I'm doing 1,000 a day. So a bunch of people start asking me, hey, how are you doing it? Hey, what's working for you right now? So I started doing YouTube as well at the end of 2017. So that's when it all started. And it started very like, I'm not going to say wholesome, but like literally I just wanted to post it just to show people what I was doing. Like, and that first video is still on my channel. It's called What is E-commerce? There's no clickbait. My face isn't even in the thumbnail. It's literally just me in front of a PowerPoint sharing exactly what I've been doing over the last couple of months. Like, it was targeted for my friends and family and like
the Facebook group people, right? I wanted to know.
Yeah.
That's solid. So your business took off, and then you started YouTube kind of afterwards. What was the I don't know how open you are with numbers, but what was the yearly revenue that you did in 2017 on your store?
I don't quite remember. I have covered it on my YouTube channel. I think it was around like 600,000 or something like that.
Cool.
600, 700,000. It's on my channel though.
Got it. And what of that, because in e-commerce businesses, I've only run a digital product business, so I'm actually very curious, and I'm learning a lot from you actually while talking to you, and it's exciting. How much of that is profit? Like how much of that were you able to either keep or, whatever, what was the profit on it?
At the time, I thought it was much more than it actually ended up being. Yeah. This was the first time I ever had money, so I thought it was just lit. Like, I thought it was like, oh my God, I'm rich now. But after I paid the taxes, after I paid my business partner who I had at the time, after we had an issue with a supplier where he scammed us out of $15K, I really ended the year on actually like not this exciting level. Yeah. So I would say the profit margin for that first year was like less than 10%. But that was also in the same time of me literally learning how to do this.
I agree.
I literally had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, not to go too much into my own stuff, but 2017, similar thing happened where we did a product launch. In 1 week, we made $150,000. I'm like, holy fuck, I'm listening to Drake every car ride. I told my boys, yo, we're gonna go to LA. You guys will never be, it'll never be the same again. We'll have a house by the pool. And then we did that, we moved to LA. Now I look at it and I'm like, why did you do that? I increased expenses like crazy.
Yeah.
Profit margins were nothing. By the time everything was said and done, I probably had nothing left in the bank account.
Yeah.
No profit. And I thought at that time it was so amazing. But
you probably had those desires before you had the money, and then you got to scratch that itch, but then you learned from that experience probably. So
100%. Yeah, you learned so much.
I did it too. That's really what 2018 was for me.
What was it?
Well, so I was living in Fort Myers, where I'm from, Southwest Florida, and I was doing good there. I was seeing success with my Shopify business. I drove a Honda Accord, which I was really excited about because I didn't have a car. I was with my best friends, from childhood. I was doing good, but in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, if I want to grow, I have to get away from my friends, and I have to go be around the big people, so I need to move to LA. So in 2018...
You're in LA?
Yeah, in April. My birthday's in January, so I remember on my birthday, I wrote on my whiteboard. I'm big on whiteboards. I wrote on April 20th, you will move to LA. So I didn't know how.
420.
That was not a coincidence, by the way. It was not a coincidence. It was a coincidence, but basically, I wrote that date down, and I had no idea where I would stay in LA or nothing like that. But I made it happen, and I literally moved there on that day. There's a vlog.
2018.
Yeah, there's a vlog on my channel. I don't vlog anymore, but yeah. And I moved there. I think at the time I had $40,000 or something like that. But I was like, this is enough to live in LA. I got this crazy apartment I was so excited about. I was having the Hollywood sign in my living room view.
Where were you?
Koreatown.
Wow.
Pretty.
I moved to Hollywood. I moved to Hollywood with the Walk of Fame. Yeah.
Well, the reason why I wanted that apartment, I didn't know what Koreatown was or downtown was, but I saw this YouTube video of this guy doing his apartment tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want to live there. So with no hesitation, I only went to that one building and I toured it, and I was like, oh, okay, I signed the lease the same day.
Yeah.
Me being 19 and stupid. But ultimately that apartment was sick for me. But man, downtown LA is the hood.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
But I lived there for 2 years, and in 2018, I think because my channel started to grow a little bit, I think I hit my first 10K subs and stuff like that.
And it was all e-commerce, right? At that
all
point?
e-commerce,
Cool.
very, very, very niche. Not even just how to start Shopify. It's how to track your profits on your Shopify dashboard. Very niche. 1,000 views a video maybe.
Nice.
I just started to spend a lot more money. I bought a much more expensive car.
Yeah.
I was going out to nice dinners.
Yeah.
I wasn't much of a club guy. I'm still not much of a club guy, but did it a couple times as well. And would just see the money just kind of disappearing.
Yeah.
So 2018 was kind of a rough year. On paper, it looked like the most lit year, but 2018 was pretty damn rough financially for me. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just having a crazy fucking reaction because, dude, literally, I feel like I had the same exact year, 2018.
Yeah.
I've told you guys about this. Around that time, I started getting some people on my team, Yeah. But I'm just agreeing with it so hard because, I had to come up and I just felt like I was hot shit. Nothing I can do. Well, YouTube is taking out everything. And I was just spending so much money. I was partying. I was going to different countries. Everything I was doing in 2018. But it was, a very rough year financially. And kind of things were going down. But anyways,
yeah, man, it's...
I feel you on that.
In hindsight, though, I'm sure you look at that and you say, okay, well, it's happened and it sucked. But from that, I learned a lot. And that's how I feel about it, at least.
Yeah.
The following year was not much better for me, 2019. Again, on paper, I'm getting people coming up to me in public, and I'm making crazy good friendships, and I was hosting these grand e-commerce events, by the way, which, so if I spoke at UCLA, if you're looking at all these things that I'm doing, you're like, oh man, Jordan, he moved out the hood, he's lit now, but I was pretty down bad. And then in 2019, I started my software company, Viral Vault. And I did not realize how expensive it is to build an app.
Yeah. It's very expensive.
Yeah. So basically, I had launched like an MVP.
Yes.
And I had got some money from that. I had made like $20,000 from that. And I was planning
$20 from launching your MVP?
Yeah, because we launched it on my YouTube channel. I was partnered with another guy, and
what is it? Like what?
It's a toolkit to help you start your own Shopify store.
Got
so we
it.
provide daily product recommendations, training, and a community of other entrepreneurs. It's called Viral Vault.
And it's from a SaaS, like a software.
Originally, we started on ClickFunnels. So I just built like something on ClickFunnels where it's like a login, dashboard, product, library, training.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're probably better off just sticking with that in the early days. But once I made the first 20, which took us about like 2-3 months, I was like, okay, we need to take all this and now build our own custom coded platform, which, you know, is like the right thing to do. But what happened was that the business partner that I had at the time, he, you know, I got a bad history of business partners.
I mean,
I don't know if you see a trend here.
I'll tell you this, like, I've never heard any good stories about business partners. Like, it always ends bad. Like from Twitter guy Jack Dorsey getting or whatever kicked out, right? From Twitter. But like,
I've heard a lot of, you know, I've heard good ones, but I've heard more bad ones. But that being said, we got into a disagreement about the future of the company. And he didn't like the vision that I had for it going forward. And he was scared that I was going to ruin the business. So he just decided to go ahead and take all the money and leave.
I don't know why they do that.
All of
like,
it.
I understand the disagreement.
Why do they do that? Like,
so this was a mistake. This was a mistake on my part. So he owned the bank. He didn't own the bank. It was his bank account. He set up the bank account for this new venture.
Come on, bro.
He was look. He was more on the management side of it, like that. So he had set up the bank account, and I had a login, so I thought that I had some ownership of it.
Yes.
My name was on the account.
Yeah.
So basically, he changed the password and extracted all the money, and c'est la vie, it just dipped. So that was basically what happened there. And at that point,
how much money did he take?
20,000, which was the entire budget that we were going to use for the coding. So at that point, we had already started development. We already had a couple hundred users, and we had already announced that we were developing something new. So I was just like, all right, I got to dip into my money. The only problem with that was that I had expenses of $10,000, almost $15,000 a month, and I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. So between my personal expenses and this development cost, which ended up being more than 20 when it was all said and done, I went broke.
Wow.
In Los Angeles.
Wow.
And broke, you know, is relative, right? I still had enough money to pay my $2,500 rent. I could still go out and get lunch and stuff like that. But like I paid my car. I never missed payments or nothing like that.
Yes, I understand.
But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was like broke from your standpoint where you're like, dude, I'm making $600K a fucking year, then I have nothing left. So I understand, you know.
I wasn't doing YouTube anymore because I was just fully focused on growing this app. I mean, building the app. I couldn't even grow it because it wasn't even launched.
So was your e-commerce store though in 2018, 2019 that still did revenue, but you had little profit left over after everything, right?
Well, I actually stopped the store actually around the time I moved to LA. A couple months after I moved to LA.
So you stopped it in 2018?
Yeah. The reason why is because at the time I had made almost $1 million in sales from it, a little bit of profit, but I discovered coaching. And I saw the course business. And when I launched my YouTube channel and I saw how much I was making from that, I was like, well, this is a better use of my time. I already did this dropshipping thing. People respect my information here, so I'm going to keep doing that. Which actually proved to be a huge mistake. In the moment, it looked good because I was making like quick payments of coaching and stuff like that. But every month that I wasn't doing e-commerce, I felt less confident in being a coach.
Yes,
you know?
I have. Yep. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Keep going.
So
I feel you.
Basically, I had no income. I had money going out and no money coming in, and that was like 2019. And it reached a point where the app was done. I launched the app, and the response was like not. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. So it's not like I made the money back right away. And it reached a point around 2020 where I had to leave LA. I basically just broke my lease, which also cost money, and then
how does it work? You paid 3 months or whatever?
No, the ladies was cool with me. I used to say hi to them every morning and stuff, so we worked it out. I just paid like my next month, and then it was also during COVID too, so I think they were a little more lenient.
Okay.
And then I moved back home, and honestly, this is when my life flipped around for the better. Is when I moved back home.
Wow.
I moved out of LA from this luxurious apartment. Well, Koreatown, luxurious. But the apartment was nice. I went back to sleeping on the couch at my mom's place,
I think that's smart. That's what Gary Vee says all the time.
Yeah, but it felt like
Shit.
the worst thing
I
ever.
imagine.
But only temporarily, because after
Yeah.
a couple days, I was surrounded by, you know, my family. My mom even like set this thing up right when I arrived back home. Like 10 of my friends were at the house, like waiting for me. Like, so, and it was a surprise. I didn't even know. So like right when I was back, I was like swarmed with love, and like it made me realize that like being in this other place was like taking away from my energy, and being back home actually was bringing my energy back. So the first thing I did was I was like, okay, look, you can keep trying to force this software business, or you can do the thing that worked the first time, start e-commerce again. So I went back to my roots that made me the most money that I had made ever.
Yeah.
You know, so I started another store in the same office that I started at originally. You know, except
Back
with
to
2 years of LA life experience.
Yes,
And, I mean,
agree.
I got so many crazy LA stories. We'll save those for a different show. But
Yeah.
I'm back at my
Off the
couch
pod,
now.
right?
Yeah, I'm back on my couch, and the difference between then and this time was that I had experience.
Yeah.
Last time it took me 4 months to get profitable. This time it took me 2 weeks. And I'm looking at myself like, bro, why didn't you just do this in LA? Like, but when you have a lot of expenses, it's hard to think clearly.
Oh, yes.
You know, cutting out all my expenses allowed me to understand, okay, I could focus on my highest value skill set and just produce that. So that's what I did. And I started another Shopify store. And that ended up being the biggest store that I've ever built. And I sold the business actually 2 months ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to know about that too. So,
Yes.
like,
this is the exciting part of
This
my
is-
life. Well, it's all, you know, it's all whatever, but
that's exciting. Okay,
Yeah.
so building this business, like, what happened? 2020, what did you take the revenue to in 2021? Like, what happened with the store?
So basically, I went back to my roots of testing products, which basically means like you build a store that's nice and branded, and you run ads to a couple different products to see which ones people respond to.
Got it?
On my 4th product test, I found this product called the Sleep Band.
Yeah.
It's a headband, sleep mask, with headphones built in. So every night you put it on, you cover your eyes, you listen to white noise, listen to your podcast, you listen to whatever you want to listen to fall asleep. And I started using it myself because my little brother, I was sleeping in the room with him and he snores like crazy. So, you know, I needed that to block him out. And I was like, damn, like, if I'm actually using this product and the people are liking it on the ads.
And it's covers your eyes too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is actually a dope product that people will use. In the past, I made money selling all types of products, but they were all a little like gimmicky dropship stuff. This is like something that I would give to somebody as a gift, or like this is a cool product. So I just went all in. I took it and I filmed a real ad with my sister. Instead of using footage from the internet, I made my own. And literally within like 48 hours, I had this product at almost $1,000 a day in sales.
Sheesh.
So I changed the store to, instead of focusing on all these products, to just focus on that product.
Yeah.
And I just continued focusing on that brand like nonstop. I wasn't doing YouTube anymore. Viral Vault was still around, but it was like totally backseat.
Yeah.
I didn't fire any of my employees though. They were all getting payroll. But it was like, just focus on this e-commerce thing. This is going to save you.
Got it.
And I was able in 2020, I believe we got the business to around like, I'm bad with numbers, but
It's all good.
I hate saying it because it's all out there, so you guys can go verify it. But it was a couple $100,000.
Wow.
I had my first 100K month as well in 2020.
Wow. Okay.
So it was like
Beautiful.
from nothing to getting it up and going in that short time frame.
Got it.
And that goes to what you're saying, man. Like having the skills is what will save you from catastrophe. You know?
100%.
Skills is the most important thing.
I agree with you. Because at some point, I think what happens is like you go from, I need money in my bank to have runway and need some hope from it, where eventually you get to a point where you're like, I am the fucking runway because I have the skill set.
Yeah, facts.
So it's like, God forbid, the worst case thing happens. Like if you lost your everything right now, you know you can grow it back.
Definitely.
Even though it'd be hard, but you're like, dude, I can grow it back.
Definitely.
Right?
That's where I feel like the most peace comes from, is like you're not operating from like full scarcity, because you know that if everything collapses, you still have your experience and your skills and your knowledge, and I mean your connections, like all these things. It's more than just money.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, so you grew this thing 2020, 2021, 2022. Did this, e-commerce thing become like, I think I saw some of your video or something, and you were saying you were doing like $40,000 or $80,000 a month in profit or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm having the numbers wrong, but when did that
in the
happen?
best months, yeah. So At the end of 2020, I did something. It's very important to me as well. As I started up the YouTube channel again. Because I had stopped posting for so long.
Yeah.
And now I was seeing success with e-com. It's almost like a deja vu.
Yeah.
Like literally at the end of 2017, I started YouTube, and at the end of 2020, I started to back up again.
Yeah.
At the time, at the end of 2020, I had like 19,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers, something like that.
Yeah.
So 2021, my mission, and I made it clear in the first video of the year, was like my goal is to document my journey of building my business with as much transparency as possible. So
Wow.
I just continued growing my Shopify brand, and every single Friday I would post a video about the brand. It would be like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, all type of videos.
And you were getting viewership on it.
Yeah, and at that time I also made the decision to take YouTube more seriously as an art form and as a craft, not just putting videos to post videos, but like how can we increase the production quality? How can we make a viral actual title and thumbnail?
Yeah.
And actually respecting YouTube as a business too, because
Yeah.
before I was just firing videos. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to do like just spam posting and hoping that it was going to grow.
Yeah.
And 2021 was my breakout year on YouTube as well. I ended
2020.
2021.
2021. Got it.
Yeah, so in 2021, not only did I grow the Shopify brand past $1 million in sales, but we also got my first 100,000 subscribers, and I ended the year around 250,000 subscribers.
Bro, congrats.
Yeah.
That is huge. You got that silver play button.
Yes, I do.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So yeah, that is huge success that you were able to accomplish and turn your Shopify store around. And so I want to get to kind of what you're doing now too, but like you sold your Shopify store like this year?
In August, yes, I sold Sleep Band.
Got it. Oh, the store was called that?
Yes.
Okay. And are you allowed to share any numbers around that, or is that?
I haven't shared the number. It's part of our agreement that I can't share
Understood.
the amount that it's sold
Got
for.
it.
Because it's still an active business. It's still running today.
Understood. But suffice it to say, you're doing better now.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And then what happened? So now I'm curious, right? Because this is awesome to know. Because when I saw your YouTube channel and I saw it changing, right? There was e-commerce stuff. You're doing e-commerce coaching, and I think now you, do you have an offer around e-commerce to help other people with Shopify stores?
Well, Viral Vault's still around. So,
Okay.
From me transparently sharing my journey of Sleep Band,
Yeah.
it saved Viral Vault too, because now I'm getting a bunch of Shopify viewership again, and
Yeah.
people are checking out my product. So that's still around.
Got it.
These days I don't focus on it as much as I once did.
Yeah.
YouTube has really taken over my life, especially now that I've sold the Shopify brand.
Yes.
But Viral Vault's still around. We also have like a higher ticket offer. It's a little more hands-on.
Yeah.
It costs around $3,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what I'm working on right now.
Amazing, bro.
I'm also partnered with another creator. I own like a percentage of his digital product, and I'm helping him grow that. So.
That's smart. Okay. So what's the biggest, like your biggest goal right now? To me, from the outside, not knowing anything, it just looks like you're fucking going ham on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that the biggest thing right now, or is there something else or other that is like big for you right now?
Yeah, I think the top priority is to just continue pushing the boundary of what a business-related video on YouTube is, and trying to make the most entertaining business-related content on the platform. That's sort of like my goal. Make it exciting for people that have not started a business yet.
Yeah.
Like my goal above all is to inspire this generation and the next generation of entrepreneurs by sharing my story and telling other stories. So that's sort of what we're pushing for. I don't attach like too many numbers to it, because I understand that if I can do that at the highest level, all the viewership, all the subscribers, all the opportunities will flow to me.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. Because even I think a lot of people, so I think this one thing that I see a lot of like dichotomy or whatever, the separation that I see is business people don't understand the power of creation, and oftentimes creators don't see the power of business.
Yeah.
And I think you having the background knowledge of marketing combined with this is a killer combination, because there's tons of creators that are underpaid, not making what they could be making, and you probably look at it and you're like, dude, you're sitting on a gold mine.
Definitely.
What are you fucking doing, right? And probably one of the creators you're helping right now, you might have had a similar thought, right?
Yeah, it's a Sneako.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sneako is. I recently started getting into some of his content, like after his Tristan Tate interview and stuff like that, and that was super entertaining.
Yeah, he's great.
And I'm like, this guy just spits. Like sometimes I would listen to him and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But then there are other times where I would listen to him and I'm like, I actually feel what he's saying. Like,
yeah, definitely. That's his thing. You know, he's a little polarizing, but I think overall what he's trying to get out there is a relatively positive message. The way he puts it out is a little crazy, but the actual underlying message that is shared, and I speak with him many hours off camera. Like, I know where this guy's heart is really at.
Yeah, he has a good heart. I can tell that, and he was doing it when he was very young too.
Yes,
right.
He's a true creative at his core.
Yeah, he's very creative, and then he's doing the creativity kit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, creativity kit.
I'm a part of that. I'm a big supporter of the creativity kit. It's a great product.
Yeah.
You know, if you're wanting to start your own TikTok, if you want to start your own YouTube,
yeah,
the blueprint is there for you.
Damn, that is amazing. Because I think, that is a really big play. Because Mr. Beast, what he's done with what he's creating, because for a while, when I didn't really understand too much about Mr. Beast and didn't know him, right, I just thought, oh, he's just going to do YouTube. Like, that's pretty cute. But there are people, like, building these big businesses.
Yeah.
And then I heard him on Andrew Schultz and these other podcasts. And I'm like, bro, he's not just making, like, videos for random kids to watch. Like, there's a lot of people watching it. But what his vision is with all of this stuff, from feeding millions of people to, like, he could become the president if he wanted to, having that much influence, to, like, all of his content and everything is worth, like, he said it lightly, right? $1 billion, and he's like,
more. I would say it's actually more.
I would say it's more, right?
$1 billion is low. That's why he didn't take it.
Yeah, $1 billion is low because 100 million is just his burger, right?
Yeah.
Doing 100 mil a year just from that, and then there's other products, and then he can launch a SaaS, and so it's like the value is so deep there, and he could be worth $5 or $10 billion. So when I heard that, I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think Mr. Beast is more of a businessman than a creative. Like, when you watch his videos, you know, I'm not watching them like, this is like art. This is like really incredible content that's going to get millions of people that are going to watch.
I agree.
It's very strategic, as opposed to some other creators where it is a little more, I would say, artsy.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
Guess what? It's working better than anybody else. And he's making more money than anybody else. So I love what he's doing.
Yeah, this is why I even liked your video, right? Because I love Mr. Beast, but I don't really sit there and watch his content.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I'll click on it and it's like you're kind of hooked. Like, he gets the game. Yeah. So when I click on it, I'm kind of hooked for a couple of minutes, but I won't end up watching the entire thing. Sometimes I feel like it's like eating fast food from a content perspective.
Yeah.
I'm like done with it. And I'm just like, like what? I don't know how I got better. I feel better maybe because these people want money, but I'm not sure what happened with me. But you know why I had a good feeling when I came across your content, right? Usually when people start off with kind of negative videos, I'm like, I don't know about these creators, right? But you had a video on Andrew Tate's product or whatever.
So that's the first video you saw?
That's the first video I saw, right?
Interesting.
So when I came across that first video, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like gel with this creator, because most creators who might make something like this, I'm just not sure. But when I watched the thing, you were very like, you weren't overtly negative. You didn't jump to conclusions about him. You stated facts and how things were happening, and I agreed with a lot of them because I was trying to buy the program too, and I was just kind of getting like something was off with the process that we were going through, right?
Yeah.
And then I fell into the funnel because like I watched that video, and then the next one I saw was like Iman Gadzhi's, and like I know Iman Qazi, like his content is super dope.
Yeah.
I watched that entire fucking video, dude, from start to finish. Because that just seemed like a work of art. Like, I loved how it's like an interview, but you didn't do it like that. You did it in a much more intelligent way. Because
it's like a day in the life while sharing the story.
I love that. Yeah, it was a mixture of both. Day in the life of a millionaire, but we're sharing a story. So you would talk for a few things, right, at the hotel. Then you're like, all right, we're going to go. Then we're in the car. He's talking about his business, and you're learning really valuable things. You know, I'm a big geek and nerd when it comes to entrepreneurs and how they're doing it, how much money they're making. And so it's like, he'll drop a gem here, you know, he'll be like, oh, we did this much revenue and this. I'm like, oh shit. And then you're showing the lifestyle where he's buying a Rolex or two Rolex, right? And he like doesn't even have an emotional, like, he's not even hyped, or I'd be going crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
some people make a whole video just buying a Rolex.
Yeah.
You know, like,
he just Yeah.
He was like literally like, yeah, I just buy them, put them in my vault.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even pick them up. I have my assistant pick them up, and she puts them in the vault. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. That was the hook that you also added to the start. I like
Yeah,
that. Right?
yeah. That was actually the one thing I would change about that video is the intro, but that's some just YouTube technical stuff.
Yeah. What would you do? There's some other cooler stuff that you would have put as a hook?
Well, I got a bunch of YouTuber friends, and I always get my videos roasted. And it's always like, the most recent thing that we're trying to work on is the intro of the video. The intros of the video should be so short and get straight into it. With that video, I feel like we did the cold open intro, and then we did, what's up guys, I'm here in London, and then we did, what's up guys, I'm here with, it was 3 intros in one.
A lot of
it would have been better if it just was one intro straight into the video. That would have doubled the views.
That's crazy. I agree with you though. I 100% agree with you.
That's why I asked for YouTube advice from non-finance YouTubers. I asked for like the viral crackhead YouTube content because it gives a new perspective.
We call it like they give you AIDS with their content.
Yeah, it gives a new perspective, and then you watch this video, like you said, and you're like, it's not like the rest of the business videos that you saw. So
yes,
I appreciate you saying that. That's one of my favorite videos of the year for us. We
have
a bunch like that. If you want to follow it up, check out the one where we interviewed the RM Plug. He's like the biggest watch dealer in Miami. One of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's another day in the life. We went to his jewelry factory where they actually set the pieces. We went in a G-Wagon. He showed us $1 million of watches in a little tiny box like this big.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm getting that sense from you, right, where it's a master class. These videos are made with a lot of love, and they leave you feeling inspired. They're not too long or whatever. Though I don't care, dude. I get sad when it's not long enough to, because I'm like.
That's why you keep it kind of short, because then it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. You're like, I want to watch something next. I agree with you on that. So I think though the way where you're headed with your content seems really amazing to me, and I think what you're saying is really smart, which is, I'm gonna make this the main priority, and then whatever flows from it. However, you're very smart and you have a lot of business sense too, so you know how you could convert that into something that could be worth something, right? Because I think a lot of people are like, but I'd be giving up my business aspirations doing this. You don't feel that way?
No, I think I actually get more of a rush from doing the creative stuff than the business stuff at this point in my life. Maybe it'll shift in the future, but the creative stuff, it gets me more excited than the business stuff. It truly does. And I think it goes back to what I started with as a very young child. It's sort of like, that was the first love,
Yeah.
And I used to do music and stuff like that as well. So like the creative stuff, it gets me way more excited. Like the videos, I edit the videos.
Ah, wow.
Even now?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
And okay, when you watch the Iman video, you get a sense of, you said it's made with love.
Yeah.
That's a difference, from if I just send it to whoever and just have them do it.
Yeah.
I have somebody I work with. I'm not saying I do 100% of it, but like all the unique elements, the music, the voiceovers, the storyline, that is sort of the creation that I do. Yeah.
That's amazing, bro. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really amazing, because I think, from my perspective, and I love hearing this, but like for me, it started with content, and I loved content, and then I kept doing so much of it. Even now, and we have a very weird YouTube channel because we have a coding YouTube channel.
I've seen it.
And so it's like we'll have our videos that have the most amount of views are like 12 hours long or 7 hours long or 8 hours long. And it's kind of a weird thing. So for me, a lot of it started from content and teaching. And then it turned into like running a business and stuff, because we were running programs and all of this stuff. And what happened with me was I started losing some love for the content side because I had to be so focused on the business side.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while. And now I'm like, if I could have my time and energy to put into content, I would enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
But I just, because of like business stuff, I'm like, can't do it,
Yeah, well, ultimately you're in the driver's seat, bro. Like,
yeah,
you get to choose which one.
It's a fuck ton of fun, man.
Yeah.
It is really valuable and fun. Even Iman is doing a lot of content right now, I think.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
A few months back, you started doing more like social experimenty type of videos, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was it that like kind of like shifted the strategy for that? Did you want to make those videos? Was it more like, shit, like let's get more viral, or like what was kind of?
I'll just ask the same thing that you did. So, Frankie he's behind the camera.
Shout out to Frankie.
Yeah, shout out to Frankie. But what he asked is, hey, what made you do this type of content? And it seems like you were doing some content that was kind of more social experiment like.
Yeah, because it's exciting.
Okay.
Just the same as you were saying, you're kind of losing a little love for being the guy sitting educating people. Like, it's exciting for me to try new ideas and to push the boundary of what a business video is. So also, the response is crazy. Like, the biggest video on my channel, second to my dropshipping tutorial, is asking Wall Street millionaires. The third biggest video, asking Bitcoin billionaires. The fourth biggest video, asking Miami millionaires.
Yeah.
So like, and those videos I get so nervous to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
But the dopamine rush I get after interviewing Michael Saylor or Ryan Trahan
I saw that Michael
or
Saylor.
Eric or Kevin O'Leary or the New York Stock Exchange guy.
Yes.
Like, this is like the highest dopamine I get from anything.
What the fuck was that? Michael Saylor said your name.
Okay.
What was that? Like the top comment on that, one of the top comments, and I was wondering the same thing. Like, dude, he walks up, just so you guys have context, right? He walks up to Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is like a multi-bajillionaire with Bitcoin stuff. He walks up to him. He's like, hey, can we do, and it seemed like you were nervous and you waited a while for him. So you had this one window, right? He walks up to Michael, and then Michael's just like looking down, and he looks at him and he goes, Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Pause the video. I'm like, hey, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So that's a little bit of YouTube storytelling magic.
Okay.
No, but here's the real story. So we did have to wait outside of his room.
Yeah.
Let me rewind. So we snuck backstage at the conference.
Yeah.
Backstage at the Bitcoin conference, there was a bunch of these little offices.
Yeah.
This is where, the people were having their meetings throughout the day and everything. Yeah. We saw an office, and on the banner it said, there is no second best. Now, if you're into the crypto world, you know exactly whose office that is. That's Michael Saylor's saying. That's what he says all the time. So, like, he's in there. So we hung out there for a little bit, and we saw him pop his head out for a second.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, he's definitely in there.
Yeah.
And he went back inside, and we were sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. That was all real. But at one point in time, this woman came out, and she was standing there just like, she looked like she was like kind of security, but also kind of like secretary.
Yeah.
So I just walked up to her and I was like, hey, we want to do a quick interview with Michael. She's like, oh, I don't think he can do it, but here, send me your thing, we'll check it out and whatever. So she left.
Yeah.
We stayed sitting out there, and Michael popped out. This was all live. It's all in the video. And he was looking down on his phone, and conveniently enough, he had just checked. She must have texted him before or something, but he was looking at the channel when I walked up to him, which I think is what made everything work.
Your channel?
Yeah, because she texted him the link to it.
Whoa.
So we did talk to the secretary beforehand, but it wasn't like we scheduled an interview.
But
or
you
anything.
sent her your channel, though.
Yeah.
So you emailed her.
Texted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was just standing there. So my videographer was like, no, don't do it. It's going to mess it up. They're going to kick us out. I was like, no. And then I just did it.
Respect.
Yeah. Thanks.
Respect, yeah.
Sometimes you got to kick the door down. The manager for Kevin O'Leary told us we weren't allowed to do the interview either. But as he was walking around, I was like, Kevin, just real quick. It will be less than a minute. And he's like, look back. All right, sure. She's like, no, Kevin, we can't. He's like, don't worry about it. And,
I love that.
That thumbnail was like one of the biggest ones we did. So
That's smart.
I just go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, Wall Street, they told us we couldn't use the footage in the video. I still put it out there in my own way, so.
Amazing, yeah, because I think with the Kevin one and whatever, that's really important, because I think if you try to, they wouldn't give you this type of time, right? Like,
yeah,
they just don't have that time. So,
but also, like, I don't think it would have got as many views if I spent an hour with Kevin O'Leary.
Really?
I think people only cared, hey, Kevin, what's the best way to make money with crypto? What, any tips for beginners? Okay, thanks.
That's it, right? That's what...
I think, what would the fan ask Kevin if they had a moment with him?
Yeah.
They're not going to get an hour interview. So I try to, like, play that role. It's the same thing I did with the YouTube guys,
Yeah.
Like, okay, if that fan had a chance to interview them about money, what would they ask them?
I agree with you, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the podcast format is good. We talked about a lot of dope stuff today.
Yeah.
But I think it's, like, for me, I am better at the quick interviews.
Yeah. It's like, what's your specialty and what you enjoy? For me, podcast is like twofold. It's like, one, it's, yes, of course, it's like good content. People will find value. But selfishly, just for me, I want to have these conversations. I want to learn this stuff. Because I spent the last 6-7 years just building my channel and just working. Like, I didn't do networking. I didn't go outside. Like I almost did nothing. I just focused on building it. So for me, it's actually kind of cool to take the time out. And I'm like, dude, I was missing out on all of this, like talking to amazing creators. So,
yeah, this has been great, man.
I think that's it. We'll wrap it up. Bro, thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
I appreciate it, bro.
Definitely,
this was hype.
Woo.